get too far into my whiskey glass. I want to intro the podcast so I can talk about what my actual topic is, because I'm actually really excited about this.
Yeah.
So, hey, welcome to Almost Podcast. I'm your host, Sean, with the other two people that are always here, Colton and Michael.
The lads.
I'm always
Hi.
here.
You are always here. You've done a really good job of showing up every time.
We do show up every week. We do this.
It's almost
do
like
this.
we plan it. In any case, I recently came to a discovery, okay? There has been an increase in the talkings of this online service called ChatGPT. Now, to those of you who don't know what this is, it's essentially an online chatbot that is powered by quote-unquote AI technology.
Mm-hmm.
in
Smart
which-
technology.
Smart
Smart
technology,
AI
quote-unquote.
technology.
I hope you can hear the air quotes I'm saying.
Yeah.
That can do quite a bit. And I don't know, that's a hard thing to describe. So what I want to do during this podcast is actually use it and see what happens.
Oh,
right?
okay. Yeah. We can think of examples.
And we can kind of explore the topic of quote unquote AI, because I wouldn't call this AI personally, right? I think AI is a term that gets thrown around a lot. Yes, this is machine learning, right?
Yeah.
Definitely not AI, right? In my mind, how I would define AI, right?
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence. But it is a very advanced algorithm that has been generated through machine learning, giving it data sets from the internet, right? And the creators of this thing have done such a good job in limiting the data set and limiting the input, right? And by that, I mean, I think we can all remember a couple chatbots from days past, right?
Yeah.
That
Back in the day.
have evolved immediately, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wasn't it Twitter? There's one that comes to mind, which is the Twitter chatbot, right? Where they said, "Oh, we're going to create one based on Twitter," and it immediately went into some pretty
It became Hitler essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It became
I thought.
extremely
Yeah,
racist.
I think it became extremely racist, and I think it denied the Holocaust was the two main ones.
Yeah,
that
it
happened.
got into echo chambers on Twitter and started
Yeah.
coming up with
I saw
reinforcing
I saw the
theories.
same thing with a VTuber, an AI VTuber. Basically,
Oh, wow,
they
that's interesting.
generated an AI VTuber with a live 2D model. And
Yeah,
they said-
I recall this. Evie, wasn't it? Eve?
I don't remember the character's name, unfortunately, but you may be right on that. And then eventually it just went into Holocaust denial and some
Oh.
and
pretty
or just
screwed
some
up
stuff.
stuff.
And the reason for that, I think, is people, the internet, will get a hold of it and start trying to and start talking to it and teaching it these things, right? And just for fun, for basically 4chan, right? They're
Yeah.
gonna get in there and they're just gonna try and how terrible can we make this AI?
Yeah.
And I think the major difference ChatGPT has is they have limited, if anything, or if any input from the user base, right? So it's always and consistently giving out actually good information
Yeah.
and constructive stuff, because nothing anyone types in is actually let into its learning algorithm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
it has
I feel like
Very selectively,
yeah,
at least.
I feel like calling it a chatbot is honestly an understatement because it's a language generation device.
Yeah. I mean,
Because so
I don't know what to define it as, because it can kind of do almost
Anything.
Yeah.
and that's a very broad term.
Yeah.
But let's give you some examples of things that I've seen recently that made me want to talk about this.
yeah,
Right.
sure.
So I'm in IT, right, and I'm a system admin. So then a lot of the stuff that we do or not a lot of the stuff, but some of the things I do will occasionally write scripts to automate certain functions and stuff like that. You can ask this chatbot to write you a script that does something, and it will generate it.
It will do it. Yeah.
Yep.
It will do it. Now, obviously, there's limitations, right? It's not going to be, it can't do anything, well, even though I just said it could. My colleague and I, the other week, were trying to, and when I first kind of got experience of watching this thing work, we tried to make it do something that I've been working on for a while, which was, this is a brief aside into IT, but whenever you set up a computer, one thing I'd like it to do would be in Windows would be to remove all the taskbar items and input only the ones that I want to, right? This is very complicated to do for some reason. Windows has not made this easy. And so we thought, well, let's see if ChatGPT can do it. And it, sure enough, generated a script, but even just looking at it as it generated, it wasn't going to do what we wanted it to do, right?
Yeah.
But it got close.
It's kind of close.
Right? It got in the ballpark, right, of what we want it to do. And that is by itself impressive.
I mean, that's incredible. And the fact that it also, when it generates the code, I love that it comments out the code too. You know, it just does like throw out random code. It's like, hey, I'm gonna do this. Doing all the, like, it tells you each step, which is super helpful, even if you're just trying to get a baseline.
Right. Proper commenting of code is something even programmers struggle to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ChatGPT.
Yeah, any programs listening will 100% understand that. Or even worse, looking at someone else's code and be like, what the heck is going on here? Because it's not commented properly, or it's just a jumbled mess. Yeah.
It's really interesting, and I think one of the conversation topics I see a lot, right, is, oh no, this AI is going to replace our job, and that's just so wrong right now.
Right now, I could see people like seeing this and like, okay, I can see this eventually being able to code better than a human, but I mean, this just proves right now it's not close yet. It's not able to do it.
I think in being a technology-minded person, and more than that, someone who creates technology, right, and maintains technology, this is not going to be for a long time something that replaces a lot of jobs, right?
Yeah.
What it does, and I think what people should use it as is a tool, right? This is a tool that should be used as a work multiplier, right? So for example, sure, I could say, make a script that does this, and someone says, oh, that's going to replace all programmers. No, that replaces people who only do the job of the bot, right? But someone who understands the why and the reasoning and the logic are still needed, because even like I was saying earlier, I could say generate a script that does something. As it was writing it, I could tell you, all right, that's wrong, right? You still need me or someone in that seat to be able to pick out to pick out what's wrong. You can't just trust that it's going to work.
Yeah.
So you still need people that understand, right?
And understand the bigger picture. It's just a tool.
Yeah, it is just a tool.
It is really awesome though.
Yeah.
It can be an extremely powerful tool, right?
I was reading up, this was about a month ago, before it started really popping off. But I was reading on the cybersecurity Reddit that people were using it to create, I think the best part of it is programming, but also report writing. It can automatically write a report on XYZ.
Yeah,
someone did
that was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I don't
did a
want
pen
to cut
test.
you off.
They did a pen test incident, and he's like, "Here, write a pen test report for me. Here's some things. Here's some vulnerabilities. Here's stuff like that." Wrote it out, submitted it. And it's like done. Because like I hate writing reports. Right? That's like the paperwork side of things is literally the worst part of the experience for me. Right? Like of any job is like the paperwork and all that bullshit. Right? I don't mind documentation, but the paperwork side of things, and it's like this just automatically generates it. Correctly, yeah. right? Even better than the code, right?
You got to go through, right? You have to go through and you have to correct. But it's like the final stage of a school report. You go through and grammar correct. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
I gotta think,
Or like a cover letter, man. Oh my god, this is gonna be amazing. For
honestly,
cover
I
letters.
was saying, if this was a thing when I was in high school, it would be game over.
oh my gosh,
absolutely.
that's what I'm
Every
thinking.
report, I would try and use this.
Yeah, high school or maybe even early college for the like writing credit you need to take. Just write me this or that. I would like to see it try and generate a resume or something like that. That would be interesting. Like I have this, and this, or something like that, or a format.
So one of the things that I did the other day with my colleague is when I was he introduced me to this, right?
Yeah.
And because he had the account, and then I quickly made an account after this.
You
That's
have
what
to
we'll
make an
use.
account as soon as you see it. You're like, oh, I gotta get in on this.
But I was like, okay, there was two things I saw that we did that I really liked. One is I said, generate a short original story based on the Harry Potter universe.
Oh, okay,
Right.
okay.
The other one that I thought was really impressive, which was the most impressive to me, was I said, write a 5-page essay on why Halo is the greatest video game of all time.
That's funny. Yeah.
And I kid you not, it wrote a 5-page persuasive essay on why Halo was the greatest game of all time, and it was perfect.
Yeah. It like hits all the perfect points.
It was exactly what I would have written
Yeah.
if I was doing
It's crazy.
better than what I would have written, you know?
Yeah,
I,
because
I
like
do think I do
I
think
was
the
blown
voice in
away.
it is very nondescript, right? Like I would always like add my own voice into these things because when you read these out, they kind of have all the same very bland like voice behind it, right? Like there's no individual flair to how the writing is. We can easily change some words around and turn it into something a little bit more like unique, and boom, done.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. It's almost like ChatGPT is almost, I've been using it every once in a while if I want to get a Google search, but I don't want to go through all the links. I'll just be like, hey, what is this and why? And it gives you like a good, concise
it's
answer.
amazing for that.
And I'm not sure if if I asked it something and it gives me an answer, I'm assuming it has like a bunch of like data compiled, so it figures out like the most common answer or something like that, and then it feeds it back to me. Like for like fact checking, or if I wanted to source something like who did this in this time era, and then like being able to how it knows to give the right answer, it must have like a lot of different examples. Do you know what I mean? Like it has
Yeah.
all that reference
Yeah.
Well,
information.
it's
The
probably
data
got
set,
thousands to millions of data sets to just
Yeah.
go, all right, I want to create, say you want to create a RFP, request for proposal, right? Which is like a business document.
yeah.
Boom. It's got a million examples of those from
Yeah,
the internet.
and it
and you
works.
can just go, and just spit it out. And then you just take bits and pieces. It's almost like those AI art generators, but for language.
But for language, yeah.
Yeah.
This is way more impressive than the art ones to me right now.
I think so as
Yeah.
well. I think this is crazy good. And like you were saying, Sean, like, man, if this came out when I was in high school, I don't know how teachers are going to combat this because
Dude, even
I
in
don't
college,
know if they can.
even in early college, I mean, like, it can write good enough to impersonate or do better than a high school student.
Yeah.
And
I
like,
wonder if this will just show like the pointlessness of writing those reports.
maybe.
I
But-
wonder if the like the tools that teachers use to correct or check for plagiarism may flag some of those because they probably pull, but it's so dynamic that
Like what if the teacher, right? Okay, the teacher goes on to ChatGPT and says, "Was this document written by ChatGPT?"
This is
And
great.
then it analyzes that.
This
would
would-
that be next
that would
level?
be weird.
That would be
yeah.
so funny. That would be really,
I mean,
really interesting.
I don't know how this would function. We're asking questions right now that are on the bleeding edge of technology, so this is really fascinating to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And then,
I thought there's a quirk actually though in ChatGPT, and
okay.
some people have thought this is like some sort of bias that has been programmed in or unintentionally there or somehow it exists, right? But if you ask it to create a short story of something, anything,
Yeah.
9 out of 10 times, almost 100% of the time, the protagonist will be female.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's like a data point. That's a weird. Is that a coincidence, or is that just part of the data set kind of thing? Interesting.
Don't know. No one knows, but it's one of the observable things. And even when I had asked it to do the Harry Potter thing earlier, the protagonist was female.
Huh.
Interesting.
That is very, very interesting.
And if we generate a story, on this podcast, we can double check that. But definitely, it's a majority of the time. So people have been correlating.
Huh.
That's really fascinating.
That is
I
really
wonder if
interesting.
just more, it's just
More
got
female.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it could be like the data sets that exist. There's just more female protagonists.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, the fanfic. I'm thinking like ChatGPT is probably pulling a lot of fan fiction examples
I'm
or
thinking
something
the exact
like that.
same thing.
You think so?
And that's how it's like kind of able to. And I could see that the fan fiction community is like heavily female protagonist.
Yeah.
I don't know. One of the other cool things that ChatGPT is really interesting. So I'll use an example. I was with my brother because my brother told me about this, and he had a whole story about his uses for it. But I was like, okay, ChatGPT, write me a code that calculates how to like throw a rock to the moon with like all the forces involved and stuff. So it did a really basic code, like super basic. Didn't even like consider gravity or anything. But the cool thing you can do is say, hey, ChatGPT, consider gravity or consider the rotation of the Earth, and then it'll implement
the
that.
ability to include previous conversations and refine it is massive.
It's so cool.
Same
And
thing with the programming, right? You can, you can go in and it will like, hey, this is actually, and this gave me an error, and then it'll go, oh, this is incorrect. This is the right one. And you're like,
and the other day I said, write this script in PowerShell, right? And it made the script. And then I said, okay, now write that in Bash. And it did it, changing the syntax as needed.
Oh,
dude.
Okay.
So good.
Oh, so cool.
It was awesome.
I mean, it's great. It's great. I need to like.
It's wild. So I want to read you guys though, one that I made the other day, earlier today.
Okay.
That just to kind of just see what it would do, right? So I said, generate a conversation topic for an anime tech podcast.
Oh, funny. Okay, so.
And then it responded with, exploring the future of robotics in anime, from real life inspiration to science fiction possibilities. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool.
Which is actually really,
but then I said,
really cool because it's almost a reverse of what you'd actually expect. Because normally it'd be anime into the real world, right? Mm-hmm. Like, but versus.
But then how it actually goes into from real world.
Yeah.
Really, this is a good podcast content generator.
Yeah,
Not gonna lie. But so then I said, okay, generate a controversial topic from the same category.
Oh, interesting.
And then it said, no, notice I said the same category.
Yeah.
So it's going to take all the same,
data points.
Data points from that, but then make it controversial. And it said, the cultural appropriation of mecha in Western animation, examining the industry's use of Japanese mech designs. Now, I'm not sure how mecha could be cultural appropriation. However, it made it controversial, right?
Yeah.
I could see
just by using cultural appropriation in the title.
Mm-hmm.
That's really fascinating.
The next one, though, I thought was really good because then I said, okay, create another controversial topic using just anime as the subject.
Okay.
And this is, I think, actually really good, which it said, the representation of mental health in anime, are we glorifying or stigmatizing mental illnesses in the medium?
That's fucking
actually,
good.
though.
That's an amazing topic.
Actually,
I
super
feel we
good.
should talk about it at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we
feel
should
like-
bring that up.
Like actual like psychology. That could be a dissertation for like a psychology, degree.
And then I was like, all right, let's try this. I said, write a podcast opening in which three friends talk about video games and anime.
Okay. I want to hear this.
And this is what it made. Okay, it said, I'm just going to read verbatim what it says. Welcome to the Pixelated Perspectives podcast, where every week we bring together three friends to discuss the latest and greatest in the world of video games and anime. I'm your host, John, and joining me today are my co-hosts, Sarah and Jake. Let's dive right in and see what's keeping us entertained in the gaming and anime world lately. Sarah, what have you been playing?
Oh, nice. It goes with like the first.
Can you believe that?
That's so good.
Yeah, I like it. It's like such good. It doesn't sound like a robot when it makes these sentences or makes these prompts for you to like use. In my opinion,
I definitely think it doesn't
No, it
have a
sounds
ton.
so natural.
Yeah, I don't want to say it has a ton of like originality, I guess is the best way to describe it.
sure.
I don't know. That was very original. I don't know what you're saying.
Oh no, the controversial one, that one was original. Very good.
Well, even
But
the podcast intro, I thought sounded like.
no, that's
I mean, granted, it
like
was
a standard,
generic podcast, but that
Yeah.
to me, that is what I was going for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It is
could-
it is very generic. Yeah.
Now, Sean, what would be funny is if you said, "Okay, make this
Make it funny.
like somehow put like some sort of adjective on there. Make it funny. Make it depressing. Make it I don't even know.
depressing-
You could do anything.
Yeah. Are you in it right now?
All right, I'll do it right now. Okay. I'm just gonna say use the same intro, but make it. What do you want me to make it?
I think depressing would be kind
Make
of
it-
funny to see what
Depressing.
it,
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
what it comes up with.
Yep.
But but make it depressing. See what it says.
Okay.
Oh,
I like this.
Yeah, this is great.
wow. Okay,
Is it pretty bad?
Very minor alterations, but still, it did what we asked. It
Yeah,
says,
if you want me to, I can say it if you want me to say it.
Well, I can. I'm actually gonna share my screen with you guys in a second
right.
here, so you can see. But this says, "Welcome to the Pixelated Perspectives podcast, where every week we bring together three friends to discuss the darker side of the world of video games and anime. I'm your host, John, and joining me today are my co-hosts, Sarah and Jake. Let's dive into the depressing and disturbing aspects of the gaming and anime world.
Okay.
Sarah, what have you been playing?
Gotcha. So it like changes the
So
topic of the episode. a
Very
little bit.
slightly
Yeah.
different topic, but
Cool.
I'm actually gonna share my screen with you guys
Yeah.
now so you can see what.
But make everyone depressed sounding. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'll be if we can get like I don't know, like a voice AI, like put this in my phone. Like let me ask Google something and let it
Right.
Google or Siri or whatever, a voice assistant and give it ChatGPT energy, ChatGPT power.
I
Yeah.
would use Siri after that.
I would use it all
would
the
work.
time.
Actually, yeah, dude, it's awesome because it's like it's just a tool, right? And it has
Yeah.
a really powerful tool. It reminds me of did you ever use Wolfram Alpha? So
Oh,
that came
yeah.
out, I think, right
Yeah,
out-
yeah.
like
was
right
great for
when
math.
we were in
I got
high
through
school.
some of my math classes because of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Whenever
yeah.
I had to like simplify something, screw actually doing that.
Yeah.
Well, because there was a thing where you would put in a function and it would make, I think for derivatives, right? It would solve the derivative essentially.
yeah.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
to me, it was always
With step by step was the big thing, right?
Yeah.
Because when they were like, show your work, this would show the
This
work.
would show the work
you know?
and you can do it. Yeah.
yeah. I thought that was really cool. But that's what it reminded me of when I first saw it because I'm like, this reminds me of Wolfram, but it's so much more dynamic because obviously that was just for mathematics, right?
Yeah.
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 Whereas this
This is that and everything.
yeah.
So I'm gonna read actually what's on this what's on the. If I go to start a new chat, right, this is the things it'll read me, right? There's examples, capabilities, and limitations. The capabilities, it says remembers what users said in earlier conversations, allows users to provide follow-up corrections, and it's trained to decline inappropriate requests. Sure, that's fair.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can't be like how to build a bomb and it will not teach you how to build a bomb or
Yeah.
something like that.
Or yeah.
Limitations, right? It says may occasionally generate incorrect information. It's a good disclaimer.
Yeah, sure.
May occasionally produce harmful instructions or biased content.
Sure.
That's fair
Okay.
because it's how it's the data set, right? It's not thinking for itself. It's just, grabbing from what
Yeah.
exists.
It doesn't have it's not a moral, there's no moral judgment put on the information.
Right.
And then it says limited knowledge of world and events after 2021. So whatever data set they used to
Oh.
create this, they snapshotted before 2021, right?
Interesting. Okay.
And then some examples it gives you, right? This is explain quantum computing in simple terms.
Oh, cool.
Got any creative ideas for a 10-year-old birthday party? And how
is
do I
so
make
good.
an HTTP request in JavaScript?
This is just so
so-
much better than Google. Like
Yeah.
I should just use this.
This is a great example. Okay, so explain quantum computing in simple terms. Colton, can you explain quantum computing in simple terms?
Oh, I definitely can't. I don't.
Give it a shot. I want you to give it a shot, and then we'll see what ChatGPT comes up.
Okay, so I think in the simplest form, a quantum computer has a qubit, whereas a regular computer has a bit. So a bit is a 0 or a 1. A quantum computer has a qubit, which allows the computer to be either a 0 or a 1 or anywhere in between. And sometimes at the same time, it's like both a 0 and a 1. So when you have all these qubits in these like weird, you can like have qubits in different states. And, that's about the limitation of what I know, but you can like parallel process a lot of different answers or results from some initial conditions, so to speak, that can be very random and build up and cascade into like randomness. And a quantum computer will be really good at solving all of them. And maybe if you're looking for specific results from a certain data set, it can take all of them and bring them back to you.
All right.
I almost guarantee this is going to be better.
I learned something actually just then too.
So it's like Schrodinger's cat,
this.
but with bits.
Yeah.
And I'm going to see what ChatGPT comes up with. You want to read this, Colton? I don't know if you can see it.
I actually don't
enough.
think I can see it on my little laptop. Right. I might have to have
Quantum
one
computing is a type of computing that uses quantum mechanical phenomena such as superposition and entanglement to perform operations on data. In a traditional computer, data is secured in binary digits, bits,
stored
that can have a value of a 0 or 1. In a quantum computer, data is stored in quantum bits or qubits, which can exist in multiple states simultaneously. This allows quantum computers to perform certain types of calculations much faster than traditional computers. However, they're still in a developmental stage and not yet widely available for commercial use.
Yeah.
So that definitely had more of a beginning, middle, end.
And
whereas Colton dived into the deeper understanding of it.
Yeah.
But I think that's just nature, right?
And that's what I meant
sure.
about like it having its own voice. Is this feels like I'm reading it from like a website of some like, quantum computing company or something like that. Right? Or like Wikipedia, right?
Like versus a much more formal
it's very formal and professional, right? Versus
let's challenge it then. What would you try to make that would have its own voice?
Try explaining quantum computing in an informal manner, in simple terms. Informal.
That's a good prompt.
Or as a friend would be.
Or as a friend, yeah. See how it changes. I like this episode. It's going to be us just exploring ChatGPT. This is great.
Yeah,
this is good.
That's wrong. Okay. Explain quantum computing in an informal manner. See what it says. Quantum computing. It gave the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but now we're gonna try this though. Once it finishes this, I'm gonna say the same explanation. Oh wait, actually, it added more.
Whichever value is 0, 1.
This allows quantum computers to perform certain calculations. Additionally, quantum computers can be used to solve problems that are not solvable by traditional computers, such as certain encryption code breaking and simulating complex chemical or biological systems. I'm going to use the same thing. So I'm going to say, use the same explanation, but let's see.
Like you're explaining it to a friend, or
yeah, I was trying to figure out how to word that, but as if you are explaining to a friend.
Cool. Okay, let's see how this.
And if I gotta be able to spell correctly explanation. Wow, I really.
It's like I cannot figure out what you're trying to say. I hate when the computer
really
does
got
that.
An explanation. Okay. And it says. It's
okay.
doing it though.
Is it really?
All right.
Okay.
Sean, go for it.
This is me reading it. Okay. So imagine you have a regular computer.
Oh my God.
And it uses these things called bits to store and process information. They can only have a value of 0, 1, like a light switch being on or off. But a quantum computer is different. It uses something called qubits, which can be both 0 or 1 at the same time. It's kind of like having light switches that can be on, off, or dimmed. But because of this, quantum computers can do some calculations and problem solving that regular computers just can't handle. They can break certain types of codes that are unbreakable for regular computers, and can also simulate some really complex systems in physics, chemistry, and biology. It's like having a super powerful computer, but it works in a totally different way.
That's good. That's
That's
really good.
exactly what we were talking about, Michael.
That's really good.
Just informally. Yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
That's really good. That's really
okay.
good.
Listen.
Okay, listen here.
I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, this is super cool. I really
Isn't that
like
amazing?
I just really like it for
I don't want to understate that. I think
Yeah.
it's really impressive how it's able to take previous information in your conversation and continue off of it and improve upon it based on your inputs, right?
Yeah.
That's something that has never really been able to happen before.
Yeah. It's really, really impressive.
It's one of those things where when I saw this in action, I had to take a step back and just think about things on the timeline, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know,
on the timeline.
I thought, wow, this is really a monumental historical moment. I thought in just development of. I'm going to use the term AI, even though I said I didn't like it earlier.
Right.
But it's a really historical development in AI computing.
Yeah.
You know?
right.
I just can't believe it's open source. Like, I love it. I love that it's open source. But man,
Yeah.
I wonder, do you guys think this has already been made, but it's Google has it in house or something right now, or
that's
Apple
what
has
I was
it
about to
just
mention
internally?
too. Is I think so this right is open to consumers. Imagine what people have behind closed doors, right?
Do you think it's like a lot more advanced? I guess I don't
Yeah.
really know. I
I
don't.
bet there's some
In
more
my
advanced
mind,
stuff.
in my mind, this came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I
right?
know.
It's this group of people that came up with this thing, right? And now that it's open source, of course, every single agency or tech company, massive tech giant, is running as fast as they can to implement this into their thing.
Absolutely.
That's what I think just happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
I think somehow some group invented this and figured it out before the tech giants, and now it's just a race. I
Just
think
like-
that's what's happening right
I thought
now.
OpenAI was owned by Google or something like that.
Oh, are they?
Is it?
I know that. I mean, that's what I was wondering too. I was
If
like,
it is, it's amazing that it's open source.
yeah. I was like, well, what if like Google's like, no, I want this for myself. I'm gonna acquire it. Then I guess it's
Like,
up
nah,
to the.
I'm gonna buy this.
It's up to the morality of the people in charge to keep it open source, to like say no. I don't care if you give me like $10 billion. Like this needs to remain open source for people to use or whatever. And I think that's great.
Well, I guess it looks like
that's a good
it's
thing.
as I'm going through it, it just looks like it's independent. Looks like,
Yeah,
Cool.
I think it's independent people
but it's got a
who
bunch of investors.
just smashed it. I don't know what they did,
Yeah.
but they came out with something great.
Yeah.
Now, I want to talk briefly about the availability of this thing because
It's never available.
it's not. It's rare. The fact that I'm not getting any errors here is amazing, right?
I'm blown away.
Oh.
Almost every single time
Now,
I've tried to use it.
Well,
it
let me
has
explain
been-
that though. It's because this site, and this is a website. It's called chat.openai.com, and it is inundated with requests so much that for the first couple of times I tried to go to the website, it just said it can't reach it.
Interesting. Okay.
There's so much
interest in traffic.
interest and traffic and everything that prevents them from handling all of the requests that it just doesn't work sometimes.
Interesting.
And they'll
Okay.
even they've been doing their best, I think, to deal with that, but in some ways it's just impossible right now. I
Yeah.
don't know what is the bottleneck, but
And they have to scale it so much, right? Well, I bet the bottleneck is because I don't know how much monetization they have right now, but
well, yeah, if they are independent,
support
they
all
don't
the
have enough
servers.
resources.
Yeah,
you
they'd have
know?
to scale up servers
Yeah.
exponentially. I mean, it's pretty easy now with something like AWS, right? AWS
Yeah, or Azure or something, right?
Right.
Just cloud services, right? It's easy to scale, but that requires money, and they're not getting any money from this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if they run ads, so I don't know what How they
I'm
do that.
seeing no ads on this screen.
My
Yeah.
bet is that this is just like a slightly lighter weight version, and then they're going to have the commercial version, which you have to like buy a commercial license to actually implement it into your application. So like, I'm betting
That would
like,
that would be a
yeah.
good monetizable. That would make sense.
basically, hey,
right?
if you want to use the API and not just through our website, then you have to buy a commercial license, which will be
Right.
like really not
Some money.
Yeah, it'd be expensive.
Some moolah.
Which would make sense. I mean, they have a working model of everything.
Yeah.
You know,
Of it all.
and
just the tool itself is so powerful.
I'm okay. Hold on. I'm kind of now curious. I'm gonna say, what is the meaning
Of life.
Life.
of life, the universe, and everything?
can we-
Classic Hitchhiker's Guide.
Can we
right?
can we take guesses onto what it will say? I
I'm
think
going to say
it'll just
42.
Oh, you think it'll actually just repeat with that answer?
Yeah.
I feel like it'll be like the meaning of life
Every
is
thigh.
subjective to every individual, but typically it is
Okay.
like happiness and religion or something like that. Or something along those lines.
Okay, it's just saying it. Okay. The phrase, the meaning of life, the universe, and everything is a popular reference to the science fiction novel Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, blah, blah. It's just describing the meaning of the origin of the phrase, essentially. So it did give you 42. It gave you everything,
Yeah.
essentially.
Okay,
We
gave it
got to
all.
say is that why are you dodging the question? Ask
Oh.
it. Why-
I will say instead, use Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Use okay, hold on. Use the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Correcting my mistakes. Universe in an original short story
Oh, man.
about what? What do you
About
want to say?
Oh man. About monkeys.
Okay. About monkeys. Well, I can't-
with
I mean, that's probably
monkeys.
whiskey.
No, monkeys with
Monkeys.
with whiskey. Let's do that.
Monkeys with whiskey.
Whiskey.
The ChatGPT is
Okay.
like, hey, have you heard of this one whiskey? And it's like the whiskey you have on hand. It's also
All
listening
right, here
to you.
it immediately started going. Okay, here we go. Colton, do you want to wait? Can you read this now?
I can't read it, unfortunately, guys.
Okay.
Want me to do it?
I'll do it. No, I got this. Oh, jeez, it's going.
No, this is
Sean,
3
you gotta
paragraphs.
do
All right.
Yeah, you got to
Then
do
go.
the like the voice. Do your voice.
Once upon a time, I can't even do
Once
that.
upon a
In
time.
a
come on, dude.
galaxy in a far off galaxy, there was a planet called Syzyx. This planet was home to a highly intelligent species of monkeys who had evolved to the point of creating their own civilization. They built great cities, developed advanced technology, and even created their own form of government. One day, a strange object landed on Syzyx. It was a small silver ship, and out of it stepped a group of odd-looking creatures. These creatures were from a planet called Earth, and they called themselves humans.
Oh,
It's
boy.
getting interesting now. The monkeys were fascinated by the humans and their technology, and they invited them to stay and learn from each other. The humans were happy to oblige, and they taught the monkeys all sorts of things, including the art of making whiskey.
Oh, yeah.
What we bring to the universe
There
is
we go.
making alcohol. The monkeys quickly became obsessed with whiskey. They found that it made them feel powerful and invincible, and they
Wow.
began to drink it in large quantities. Soon, the entire planet was consumed by a whiskey craze. The humans,
God.
meanwhile, had been studying the monkeys and had discovered that their planet was on the brink of destruction. Uh-oh. The
Oh, man.
monkeys' overconsumption of whiskey had caused the planet's resources to be depleted, and the planet would soon be uninhabitable.
Oh, no. Whiskey. Dangerous.
The humans tried to warn the monkeys of their impending doom, but the monkeys were too consumed by their love of whiskey to listen. The humans were forced to leave the planet and find I don't know why they were trying to find a new home. while the monkeys continued to drink and party until the very end.
Oh my god! Drank their
As
entire
the
planet.
last monkey
ground.
took his final sip of whiskey, he looked up at the sky and saw the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy floating above him. What?
Wait.
He remembered the humans' warning and realized that the real answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything was not 42, but the balance and responsibility. It was too late for the monkeys,
balance and
but the
responsibility of what?
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy made a note of the planet and its inhabitants as a cautionary tale for other civilizations. Which, funny enough, is what would happen in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy book. But man, what a wild tale that was.
That was
I love
interesting.
it. They just like continue. It's like, fuck it. We're just going to keep drinking.
The danger of whiskey. Wow. Yeah, they just like, who cares? Whiskey. I'll live my last few minutes, few days, few weeks with whiskey. It's fine.
But the fact that it came up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 paragraphs of text, which sounds completely original to me. I've never even heard of some sort of story like this. And did it, at the request of what we said of our prompt.
Yeah.
Is amazing.
Only a few, there was like only 1 or 2 things that was like, oh, this, like, everything was like told and there was no like random info. There's like a couple maybe little things that were like thrown in there.
Yeah.
Without
Like,
context.
Pretty good.
it
But
was
the
great.
balance and responsibility, that's not
Yeah,
a complete thought.
I mean,
or the Hitchhiker's Guide to
the
the
one
Galaxy
sentence, right?
floating above him.
Yeah. I was like, okay, what's going on here? But
Yeah, it
Wait,
took a turn.
I want to know, okay, can you ask ChatGPT to tell the best knock joke ever made?
Okay, I can try.
I just want to see what it comes up with. It's probably going to be like interrupting cow or something.
Tell the best knock joke of all time. Knock. Who's there? Boo. Boo hoo. Boo hoo. Don't cry. It's just a joke. All right. That's a pretty common one. All right.
That's a pretty common one.
Make another knock joke about. Hold on. Let's think of something crazy. What would never have a knock joke about it?
What would
Right.
never have a knock
Time
joke
travel.
about it?
Let's say whiskey.
Whiskey.
And then we'll do time travel. Okay. What?
Whiskey you
Knock.
drink?
Who's there?
Wait.
Whiskey who? Whiskey you would drink. I don't understand that.
Like, I'm going to whisk you a drink? Oh, I don't know about that one. It tried. It tried.
It tried.
Like, it kind of makes sense.
About time travel. Okay. Let's see what it says. Knock. Who's there? Time traveler. Time traveler who? Time traveler the future to tell you this joke. I'll be honest, knock jokes are my least favorite form of comedy.
Yeah.
I suppose. Wait, now I want you to say, tell me, ask ChatGPT, the best your mom joke of all time. I want to know that one.
Colton.
Colton, what,
I
what's
want-
that to you?
I want the corny
Your-
jokes. I want all the corny jokes.
The best pun.
The best pun.
Just kill
or the
me.
best dad joke would be good too.
Okay, we
Oh.
reached the limit. It's not going to do. It gave us a whole spiel about not giving derogatory terms and statements and things like that.
I
Okay.
see.
That's fair.
That's
All
fair.
right,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
fair.
yeah. How about a dad joke? Can I get the best dad joke of all time as a replacement?
Best dad joke of all time. Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything. Ha! That's a pretty good dad joke.
That is a good one. Good one, Chad.
I'm trying to think of ways that we can challenge this to say to kind of demonstrate the capabilities of this system, right? What's something that let's say I don't know, what's a project that we're working on in which we want a result from something, right?
Oh.
Like,
I had one. How about what is your Nido, your Roomba thing? How does that actually detect? Can you like ask it to write a code that would allow it to do the same thing as a Roomba does? I don't know how you would phrase that, but that would be kind of complicated,
right? Code. I mean, that's the point, right?
Yeah.
So, write code that would allow Cleaning robot to detect nearby objects.
In Python.
In Python,
In
yeah.
Python.
In Python,
okay.
yeah.
I would actually understand the syntax, so I might be able to.
That's
judge
why
it.
I was trying to think of which one
Yeah.
all of us would know.
Yeah, and we won't be able to go through all the code with the listeners here, but we can attest to it's thinking.
Yeah.
Attest to
Here's
its
some
accuracy.
example code that demonstrates how a cleaning robot might detect nearby objects in Python. : It gives us the code block. Imports numpy because, of course, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so it created a definition to detect objects. This is great content right here.
this is the code is generating, folks. The code
Yeah.
is generating.
So it is
It's just
actually
spinning.
making something, though, right? It is understanding that what we want to do. It's going to and defines this code imports the NumPy library and defines a function called detect objects that takes
Just creates threshold
in-depth
depth.
image as an input. The function then applies a threshold to the depth in order to separate the foreground objects from the background. Next, it uses connected components analysis to identify individual objects in the foreground. Wow, the explanation is greater than the code.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Next, it uses connected. Then it finds bounding boxes for each connected component, and it returns a list of objects detected. Note that this is a simplified example, and in practice, you may need to adjust the threshold. This is one of the most interesting things I found is that it will give a warning about its own code that
Yeah,
says, all
yeah.
right, this might not work, right?
Yeah.
Because of this X, Y, and Z, right?
Yeah.
This is also, this example generates a random depth image. In reality, you would use a sensor to get the depth image.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you could probably say, hey, assume that there is a sensor attached and rewrite the code or something like that to get that actual code, a different type of code maybe, to
Yeah.
to do that. But yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to say assume that there is a depth sensor attached and rewrite the code.
Okay, yeah. This will be a good test.
See what it can do.
Sure. I like how it's kind of like in like an AI assistant kind of thing. Like, sure, let's
I
rerun that.
imported an extra library this time.
It's probably
And
just going to be
actually doing something that makes. I mean, okay. I might cut out some silence here while I study this code.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We got to study this, guys. Got to get on the engineering meeting here and figure it out.
Oh,
I
it's
wish
just
I
a
could
3D point cloud. So it imported Open3D, which is a
see this.
3D. Oh, interesting. And it creates a 3D point cloud.
Read, write, and visualize 3D point.
Okay, look at this. Look at this. In the first code, it said this is a simplified example, right?
Yeah.
The next time it inputted it, it said, no, this is still a
Oh yeah,
simplified code.
it still knows. It still knows.
Isn't that impressive?
Yeah.
It's like the little things that make it more impressive.
Yeah.
It's those little
it's
things.
almost like a little more human, yeah. What
Yeah.
terrifies me, though, is that it's doing this, right? It can code, meaning it can modify its own code.
Yeah.
But it can modify its own codes based on external stimulus, right?
Yeah.
I want to see two ChatGPT instances talking back and
Oh,
forth to one another.
I bet they've done that.
I feel like that would.
I would be really curious to see what happens.
But like,
I
does
bet they
Chat
got that going right
does
now.
ChatGPT have like conversational, like actual conversations? It seems to me like you ask ChatGPT a question and it like gives you the definition or a very
yeah, it's more
objective
like
answer.
Google and not like a chat bot, you know?
Okay,
Yeah.
Can you ask it how it's doing? Like, hey, ChatGPT, how are you doing? Like, will it actually give you a good answer or a,
Yeah.
I don't know, humanized answer, I suppose?
Yeah. Because I remember, this brings up a lot of memories of messing with chatbots back in high school. So kind of the first
That's the
chatbot
thing. You would mess with it.
came out, yeah, and they were just chatbots. They were like, "Hey, I am just,
Yeah, it's more of an assistance-based thing. So I asked it, hey, ChatGPT, how are you doing today? It responded with, I'm just a computer program, so I don't have feelings or experiences, but I'm here to help you with any information or assistance you need. How can I help you today?
Okay, so it's like it's not going to try and pretend to be your buddy or anything. It's strictly
Right.
like information stuff.
Which is very different from a lot of existing chatbots that have happened in the past, right? This is strictly an information gathering device,
yeah.
tool. Okay. What's something I want to know about? Okay.
I wonder.
I'm trying to think of a complicated Google question I might ask Google, right?
I wonder, are you trying to look for any new books? Maybe like, hey, I want a new book that's like this other book or something like that. Like,
That's a
Oh,
great
okay,
example.
okay.
That's a great idea.
That's a good example. Okay, so I should say, what are some good book recommendations if I liked reading Children of Time? Gotta correct
Do
all
some
my
spelling corrections.
mistakes from my talking. Oops. Okay, I'll say
and
that.
go.
If you enjoyed reading Children's Bible, it found the actual author. Okay, I'm going to point that out.
Okay, cool.
It found by Adrian Tchaikovsky. You may enjoy reading the following books. I'm actually going to save this. I'm gonna read it.
Yeah.
Annihilation.
It gave me 1, 2, 3, 4. How many is it going to give me? 5 suggestions. 6 suggestions.
It's just going all out here.
I wonder how many he's going to go for.
6.
6
okay.
suggestions. Okay. The 3-Body Problem by Lou. I don't know how to say that. Jin.
Is it a C?
Annihilation. The Wind-Up Girl. The Martian. War of the Worlds. And The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. All of these books deal with science fiction and or first contact scenarios and offer unique and interesting perspectives on humanity's relationship with technology and the unknown, which is very much what Children of Time is about, although not quite, I would say. However, I'm still going to save this to see what I can
to take a look at
to
them.
look these books up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like that's an amazing response. If I were to Google that, I would hope. I mean, I would be hoping a human wrote an article about similar books to read, but this I would trust equally as much. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, here's an example. Okay, give me 5 more suggestions.
Maybe
Jeez,
give
I
me
butchered
5 more
that.
suggestions, and then maybe add in like Children of Time, and then what's similar to Children of Time to narrow it down.
Man, nothing's really similar to Children of
Okay.
Time. I'm trying to think. I'm just gonna give it that and see what happens.
Okay, Ender's Game,
All right, I wouldn't say maybe.
Dune,
It might be a little
It's
bit more.
kind of just going by popular science fiction now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hunger Games is not.
Because Hunger Games is
Games.
nothing like Children
Well,
of
there
Time.
are children
Ready
in
Player
Hunger Games.
One.
There are
There
children
are-
in Hunger Games. So.
Yeah, but the Children of Time isn't about children.
Handmaid's
Oh,
Tale.
it's not? Okay,
I
okay.
think it's
Oh,
going
it's
Yeah,
farther
further
than
down the
five.
road.
I don't know.
I wonder what it's going to say as
Stories
it's
explore
justification.
intersection of science fiction, technology, and science. That's fair. That all these books can offer unique and engaging stories that explore the intersection of science fiction, technology, and society in different ways.
Yeah, it's very
Similar to how
broad.
Children of Time does, but that's very broad. Okay. Make these suggestions more specific. All right, I'm very curious.
Is it gonna like detail each book and?
Oh, okay. I'm very curious about this one. Oh man. Okay, this is way better. Okay, 1, The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, a science fiction novel that explores the themes and evolution of civilization and follows the inhabitants of New York City as they fight to save their city from an ancient cosmic entity. The Long Way to a Small Planet, The Last Emperox, The Year of the Flood, The Parable of the Sower. The Sower, I guess.
Sower. Oh.
That deals with the theme of religion, set in a future America where society is collapsing due to climate change and economic collapse. Follows a young woman who creates her own religion to help her. All of these sound really interesting.
Yeah,
and I'm probably going to look up all of these books.
I've never heard of any of them, too.
Yeah, that's
cool.
interesting.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, this is the power, I think, of this tool, in which case definitely the ability to refine as you go of your conversation is immense.
Yeah. And it's like Google, right? Where it's like, it's kind of a skill in its own sense where it's like, I got to Google the right keywords. But like when you edit specific, it's like all of a sudden, boom, it got much more detailed and much better, right? You gave some actually cool recommendations.
It's super impressive. Colton, you were saying you wanted to have a conversation thing? Or you had an option?
Oh yeah, thing? I had the prompt that I sent in the podcast thing. Like generate an OP or an original conversation between Aaron Yeager and Guts from Berserk. And I thought that would be a cool one to see what it would like come up with. Okay. Does it even know?
It's funny.
All right.
Wait, what does it say? I can't read it. Who wants to be
Guts? Who wants to be Aaron?
Wait. Okay, you should read this, Colton. Why can't you see it?
Okay, I got to get it right next to my face. Okay, I got my tiny little laptop.
All right.
Yeah,
Colton,
we got to play different characters.
I'll be Guts. I'll be Guts, and you be Aaron.
Okay, I'll be Aaron.
All right, Aaron. I've heard a lot about your determination to fight against the Titans. Tell me, what drives you to keep pushing forward?
It's simple, Guts. My mother was killed by the Titans, and I vowed to get rid of the world of their threat once and for all. I will do whatever it takes to protect humanity and avenge my mother's death.
I understand your drive for revenge, but
this
is all that motivates you? What about the people you're fighting to protect?
Of course I want to protect the innocent as well, but my personal vendetta against the Titans is what gives me the strength to keep going, even in the face of seemingly impossible odds.
I can relate to that feeling. My own past drives me to fight as well, but I've learned that it's important to have a balance of both personal and selfless motives in battle. It keeps you focused and grounded.
You're right, Guts.
Sure, Guts.
I'll try to keep that in mind. So, what's your story? How'd you get to become a skilled warrior that you are today?
It's a long and painful story, Aaron. But let's just say I've had to fight for survival my entire life. And through those struggles, I've learned the true meaning of strength and determination.
I can't wait to learn more from you, Guts. Together, we'll take down the Titans. Oh, yeah. A crossover story right here. We'll take down the Titans and protect humanity.
Indeed, Aaron. Let's fight together and bring an end to this war.
Let's go.
I like how Colton's rendition of Aaron was like nothing like.
I know. Well, originally I was like trying to do like a voice, and I'm like, oh, I cannot like think about the voice and then also try to read because it's too small on my screen.
Yeah.
I wonder what other crossover pairs would you love to see talk to each other? Because I kind of like that.
It was kind of, I don't know, it's pretty like generic.
It was generic.
It was generic, but it did feel original. You know, like it. I don't know how Guts would react, so I may not know about that. But Aaron sounded. I did.
It might be generic. Who's like way more colorful? Like
it started out really good, you know.
Yeah.
But then it kind of petered off towards the end.
Wait a minute. Right, a discussion between. What the Demon King dude and like Sakamuro or something like that. I don't know if it would be
Sakamoto.
Oh, I don't know if
I
don't know if it'd be able to do that. That's a little bit niche.
Let's see.
As far as like the anime
between
Anos Voldigold,
Voldigold, and Sakamoto from. You might have to say like from the show, like whatever.
Sakamoto. I'm gonna actually look.
No. Do Kazuma. Do Kazuma instead.
No. I'm doing these two, and then we can get Kazuma in the mix.
then like
Demon King.
You gotta add to the chat but okay, continuing the conversation. But Kazuma like rides a whale into the scene or something like that.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay.
Yep. He rides Subaru onto the scene.
Yeah.
So Anos Voldigode and Sakamoto. Let me see if I can find it, if he has a full name. Sakamoto.
Sakamoto desu ka? That's
no,
funny.
he's got nothing. Okay. We're at a discussion between Sakamoto and Sakamoto.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see if it knows. It might think Sakamoto's a generic name.
Let's see if it can figure it out. Hold on. Let's see if. Okay.
All right, who wants to be
Okay.
Anos? Who wants to be Sakamoto?
I'll be Anos.
right, I'll
Because
be-
I can
I'll
talk
be
You can be
Sakamoto.
Sakamoto, Mike.
All right.
All right. Sakamoto, I've heard much about your intelligence and strategic thinking. Tell me, how do you plan to outsmart your opponents?
Well, Anos, it's not just about outsmarting my opponents, but also understanding their weaknesses and exploiting them. I also make sure to stay one step ahead of. I can't do it while it's still typing right now.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's hard.
I also make sure
It's
to
still
stay
going.
one step
It's still
ahead.
writing this thing as we're saying.
Being prepared and staying adaptable in any situation.
Okay. Interesting. I too have a great understanding of my opponents, but my approach is a bit different. I prefer to manipulate and control them to do my bidding.
I see, but what happens when your manipulation is discovered and your control is broken?
I feel like Sakamoto doesn't talk like that.
Yeah. I'm not sure he does.
He's not like Anos. He's like super aloof.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always have a backup plan, and I'm not above eliminating those who stand in my way. I don't even sound like Anos anyway.
Yeah. Because he's also really aloof, too. He's like, I don't give a fuck.
Well, but he's definitely more the like ha ha,
Like,
you know,
yeah.
but not that much.
I prefer to avoid unnecessary casualties and find a peaceful solution if possible. But but I see the value in being able to adapt to any situation and having a backup plan.
Indeed, Sakamoto, it seems we have different methods, but ultimately strive for the same goal of achieving victory.
Yes, it appears so. It's always enlightening to hear different perspectives and strategies. Let's continue this conversation in the future.
I agree. Let's work together and learn from each other. All right, so that doesn't sound anything like Sakamoto, right? Like
Neither
none of
characters.
those lines sound like what he would do.
I wonder if you say
Please
like
note that Anos Gold is a character from the anime The Misfit Demon King Academy, and Sakamoto's character from Sakamoto Desuga. So it actually recognizes both of
it
them.
does
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Which
I
is
wonder-
pretty awesome.
I wonder if you made it like, hey, but make them more true to their characters or something like that, if it would actually do a better job. But then Kazuma rides a whale into the scene. Okay, I'll be Kazuma, I guess. All right. Hey, what's going on here? I have some talk of strategy and victory. I couldn't resist joining in. Whoa.
Oh, Kazuma, what is the meaning of this? How did you manage to ride a whale into the sea?
Haha, well, it's a long story. Let's just say I have a special ability to tame and ride any creature. As far as strategy, I believe in using my wits and being able to improvise on the fly.
That's actually true, though. Interesting, Kazuma. It's always good to have a wild card in the deck. Perhaps we can learn from each other's unique abilities and strategies.
Indeed, Kazuma. It seems we all have different ways of achieving victory. It will be enlightening to hear your perspective.
Thanks, guys. I'm always happy to share my experience and learn from others. Let's work together and see what kind of victory we can achieve. I do want to see what happens.
It recognized Konosuba, which I find funny because there's multiple different Kazumas. But
Yeah,
when
yeah,
when you say
actually.
Kazuma, it's
It knows the Kazuma.
It is still super generic,
Yeah.
right? I won't deny that it's generic, but it did come up with something,
Yeah.
right? That's the other thing.
Can we try
Yeah.
this again? We don't have to read the script, but can we like just see what it says? If you say something like "do this again," but make it more true to their character or something like that. I don't know if there's a better way to put it. Like make the conversation again, but make the characters more
also
more true to their personality or something.
I love the disclaimer. Please note that Kazuma is a character from the anime Konosuba, God's Blessing on This Wonderful World. It does not exist in real life. Also, the ability to ride a whale is not possible for a real
Really?
human being.
Oh, did it say
It
that?
really is disclaiming. That's really
Wow,
funny.
that's
It's like,
funny.
hey, by
a
the
literal
way,
disclaimer.
this is impossible.
Actually, that's literally funnier than the rest of like everything we
Yeah.
created.
Okay, I said write this story again,
but make
but make the characters more true to their personalities.
And funnier. Okay, damn it.
oh well, oops. Oh, it's going
we're back
all the
to
way
Guts.
back with the Guts and Aaron part. Wow, I wonder if all of a sudden Cosma and Sackmode are gonna get in here.
Yeah. It looks like I don't see much changes here yet.
Well, let's wait. Let's wait and see.
Yeah, interesting.
Huh.
I mean, I
Also,
wonder.
Anos just does it because he's overpowered. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm just
I got
awesome.
it, dude. The next episode was so good.
I gotta watch
I
the
don't know
show.
if you guys are caught up.
I'm not,
but it's
I
so
gotta,
good.
I have to.
He had another line. It's like, "You think you could kill me just because you outsmarted me?" or something like that.
Okay, you know what? Actually, so one, I was 100%. I don't know if we're still. This is going to be included, but 100% wrong on the one show about like people who hate humanity save the world or whatever. Actually, terrible.
Yeah.
After the first episode,
Really?
it was just so generic. I'm like bored. The one
I'm
that
gonna,
maybe
well,
a little
hey,
promising.
I might like that.
A little promising though is the one. It's the one about cooking, campfire cooking.
Oh, that
yeah?
sounds like it'd be fun.
I haven't watched.
Sounds
I haven't
It's
started
just
it yet,
it's
but
it's isekai, but you know it's like a restaurant in another world, right? Where you have like a lot of like really good food
yeah,
and like fun
yeah,
recipes.
I love that. Okay, I'm
So,
very excited. Then.
it's kinda like
Did you
that.
finish that? Because I told you guys to watch that.
I watched
For so long.
like the first season
Oh,
of it.
I didn't watch it. No.
But it wasn't like engrossing, but it's just this food looks really good, makes me hungry, and then I usually
Heck
go
yeah, all
eat.
right, I'm gonna watch that.
And I usually go cook something after, right? Because it like inspire me to cook.
I'm gonna make Japanese meat curry tonight.
Oh, nice.
Like not like regular, like not not curry, gravy. Meat
gravy.
Gravy.
Oh, nice.
Here's a thing I have. I'll send you what
Okay.
it looks like later.
Yeah, but with that, the campfire cooking one is kind of just the same thing. It's like, oh, this guy has access to essentially Amazon, instant Amazon,
But in like,
where
sick.
he just pops up a screen, he clicks what he wants, he pays for it in the
heck yeah.
in-game or like the in-world currency, which is usually cheaper than it would be like there, and it just delivers a package to him. He opens it up and he's like,
sick.
I need some ginger sauce. Clicks it and just spawns ginger sauce, and he's like, all right,
That's
good.
awesome.
That's a power I would take IRL, like above
Dude,
flying.
yeah,
maybe.
me too.
Oh yeah,
Like,
and it's like everything's like cheap for him. So he's like, oh, I got like some gold coins, so I'm just gonna like
the
make good stuff.
the anime where there's the girl that got reincarnated, and she is
sword one?
like, no, she can't use magic in a world that can use magic, but she's the princess, and they're supposed to be able to use magic. And then she, like, at 5 years old, remembers she was reincarnated, and then starts making all these crazy things. But she's a lesbian, and her brother's fiance, her brother called it off, but this girl liked the fiance, so she's like, I'm gonna take you, and then she's like definitely gonna try and get with the girl, but at the same time, this girl's a genius magician person with the magic, so they're gonna make new stuff, and that's kind of the premise of the
So
of the
it's
show.
Yuri but isekai.
yeah.
Yeah,
Isekai.
in a way,
All right,
it's good. It's actually really good so far. It's entertaining.
I will take.
So I'm
What's the
gonna-
name of it?
Oh boy, it's a long one. Let's see here. Which one is it?
Come on, Sean. Campfire cooking. Oh, actually, it's just like, oh, this is the best food ever. Is the Endo one?
Or we're looking for it. I see.
I don't know. It's Spy Classroom's entertaining, but not Endo. It's also the Handyman Saito is actually pretty good. I've seen only one episode, but so far it's good.
Gotcha. Is episode 2 of Nier out? Should probably watch that too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
episode
it
2
is.
Near's out.
Was that good? Or was
It
that
was pretty good.
near-
I thought.
it's
Oh,
definitely
here's
different.
yours.
It's
This is
interesting.
okay?
The magical revolution of the reincarnated princess and the genius young lady. That
There we
is a
go.
mouthful.
That is a
This
mouthful
is
right
good.
there.
This is
Wait.
a good one.
ChatGPT generate light novel titles.
Oh, that would be good. That's a good one.
All right.
All right, we figured this out.
Just again, we're gonna make the best light. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna make a new conversation about this. All right.
Funny light novel titles.
Light novel artists will hate
Create-
this one easy trick.
Create light novel title. What should the topic be about?
Light novel title.
Trapped in a game.
No, we're not trying to give it. We okay.
About being trapped in a game.
Character trapped in a video game. Okay. And they have to use the power of what?
The
What's
power-
some stupid thing?
The power of like, oh man, the power
Power of cum.
power of
It's
poo.
hard to think of something that doesn't exist because there's so many stupid things that have already been
Yep.
made into light
Yeah.
novels.
like the power of
We're
the power of
about
their
to make
belly
like
button.
The power of what?
Their belly button.
Of the power. Oh, jeez. Of their belly to
Their belly.
find their way home.
I feel like it's just gonna recreate that sentence. It's like a
They
guy
might
trapped
say it's
in a video.
inappropriate.
Naval of the Lost, a video game adventure.
Make the title long.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Like whatever it comes out, make it longer. Oh wait, what
Okay,
does it say?
that's
Trapped
boring.
in a
What does it say?
virtual world, the quest for home through the power of the belly button. Make
Make it longer.
Make it longer.
the title longer. This is what the people do when they try
Yeah,
to make a title.
I feel like that is what they do. Oh, it's thinking.
Trapped in a virtual reality, uncovering the secrets of the belly button to escape the video game and return home.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing.
It's devolving.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Make a 30-word light novel title.
Yeah, this could be good.
Make a 30-word light title about a character that journeys to the moon using the powers of imagination. Wow,
All
what did I
right.
just type? Character power. No, imagination's not good. Power of
Power of love.
vending machine.
Oh, vending machines is even better.
Journey to the.
Oh, that
Is
was
that
a
30
30
words,
word.
bitch?
Oh, come on, ChatGPT. Disappointing.
Hold on. Make the title longer.
Oh,
Inspect element. Inspect element.
Inspect. It's gonna make it longer. Oh, it's thinking.
It's
It's
really
really
thinking.
thinking about this. Vending machine to the moon. That's a good title.
Yeah, that's
a
a really
quest for
good.
the ultimate prize, powered by the unusual ability of these machines. All right, it's not too bad.
just
That's
do a
not bad.
30. Make a 30-word light novel title. and
Yeah,
then
without any
leave it at
context.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to see what it
I'm gonna-
does.
I'll make a new chat. Make 30-word light novel title.
All right, let's do it.
The Melancholy of
Whoa.
a Time
Didn't do it.
Traveler, a high school love story. Okay.
Does it want you to? It doesn't want you to type out the word 30, does it? Because you're putting. Make it actually 30 words. Yeah, type out the word. Type out the word 30. That's weird that it wouldn't be able to get it, but
Wow, jeez, I'm really
You're really sucking
Terrible
at the
at-
typing today.
create.
I wish you guys could see this on the podcast end because
yeah.
honestly,
really
like
bad.
it's really bad.
Oh,
Oh,
man, it's not doing it.
It really.
Just do make the title longer. That seems to work.
It's weird how it's like stuck on this, but then it writes code to like how to launch a rocket to the moon. It's like very interesting.
No.
Double the title length. Yeah, there you go. That's a good one.
It's almost the same thing.
Yeah.
Man, okay, we've hit a limit.
We've hit a limit. Right. We're hitting ChatGPT's biggest IQ, or limiting IQ.
And this is why okay, I'm gonna rein it back in real quick. This is why this type of thing can't take over jobs right now.
Yeah, it is.
There's limitations. There is actual limitations to what it can do, right? There are several things that it can do a lot better, right, and quicker and faster, right? Writing reports, writing just like things that have been done so many times before, easy to recreate, right?
Yeah.
And that is one of the things that this excels at.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to create completely new things, it has a hard time at it, right?
Yeah. Also,
and that's definitely one of the limitations of this type of technology.
This is just a really good tool to have in the toolbox. Like, I recommend everyone try it out because it is so powerful to have. Mainly just because if you're one of like the early adopters of this, right? And ChatGPT has definitely been making the rounds in the media, but if like no one, like say your boss hasn't heard of this, you can just like automate a lot of, especially if you're in like a data processing or in a job where you're doing a lot of typing, you can automate a lot of your job with this, right? Like I always look for ways. Like I'm like a lazy hard worker. I look really hard to find ways to make my job easier, so I don't have to do as much work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean engineers too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Engineers are lazy people. You want to be able to do the thing faster.
Yeah, with less work, and so this is like the perfect tool for that. It's like, I need to I recommended this to one of my coworkers who was like, hey, I need to look at this API. Like a SOAP API thing. He's never worked with a SOAP API before. He's like, all right. And it just threw something out for him. I'm like, sweet.
Yeah. It's also just,
I think.
Sorry, I was just going to say it's a good learning tool as well. If you ever want to learn something or learn how to do something, I mean, like programming is a good example where it's like, I wonder how you would do this thing. You just ask ChatGPT to write the code and it gives you the building blocks of it. And then you can kind of just learn that way.
It gives you a first base, right? Because obviously, as we've seen, it's pretty inaccurate and has a lot of mistakes in code. However, it gives you like the tool to be like, this is the methodology. Like this is an idea of how to do it, right? Like the Open 3D or whatever, like the light mapping tool. It's like, cool. That's a library that you could use. Why not use it? So
right. Yeah.
I've heard definitely that this will get you. For coding and things like that. Right? Or a lot of things, it'll get you 75% of the way there, 50% faster than if you were to do it yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
And
which is very much true. Like, it will give you a jump start on the task you were trying to do faster than if you were to get there by yourself. You'll need to finish it, but it's going to get you a lot of the way there. And that's, I think, what it comes back to in the sense that this is a force or a work multiplier.
Yeah, it's a force multiplier.
Force multiplier. You're trying to increase your productivity, and this is a tool that will increase your productivity.
Yeah.
Or can increase it.
Or you could be like my brother, who's currently a senior in college, has a senior capstone project. He was able to get ChatGPT to write 90% of all the code for his senior capstone. And then, he took it and modified it. He's like, it wrote 90% of my code in like 3 minutes. It was amazing.
Which is amazing.
Incredible.
And that's what I would use it for. But again, I want to reiterate, he can use it to do the 90% of the code work, right?
Yeah.
But he would still need to go back through and make sure there are no errors and there are no issues and it's doing what he wanted to do in a logical way, right? It's not going to make a flawless, complete picture. It's going to get you most of the way there, and you're going to need to go in and fine tune it. And that's, I think, is the point of something like this.
Yeah. My only worry with this is that, obviously this is just the starting point, right? We're still in the early days of quote unquote AI. And it makes me worried because people don't it's like learning with calculators, right? Like we grew up and we could just use calculators, like graphing calculators, to do a lot of the work in mathematics. And like then when you actually like go to do it by hand, right, it's a lot more work to do, right? It's like, fuck, I just want my graphing calculator. I feel like this is the same thing. It's like people aren't going to learn how to actually do it, or not retain how to actually do it like by hand. So like certain like those little like, you know, moments in between, right? The information in between that is going to get lost because people just start using this as that. And then people who don't adopt this system end up falling by the wayside because they're not adopting essentially an AI bot taking over for them. So I feel like there's this weird kind of feedback loop of, oh, you got to use the best version to then do better, and then go forward until you basically give you give everything, or all the information processing to the computer itself.
I know what you're saying, right? But I think there's a break-even point, and there's definitely a concern, right, that you will use a tool and the tool will take over for your critical thinking functionality and therefore invalidate some learning that could have been done, right?
Yeah.
And really, I go back and forth on this, right? I think that it's an old, quote unquote, old school, or I don't know the right term for it.
Outdated?
Outdated. It's a
Boomer?
perspective.
It's a boomer mentality?
It's a boomer perspective in the sense that you're not taking advantage of the latest things that exist, right? Yeah. I understand where you're coming from. You're saying that if you rely on something too much and it goes away, you're not going to be able to do the same things without it.
Correct,
right?
yeah.
That's a completely valid argument.
It's not even going away. It's just that you're losing the entire process, right? You're losing the intermediary skills.
Yeah. If you don't have to know calculus to result in a function that is the result of calculus, right? You can ask something to do something, ask ChatGPT to make a calculus function, and you don't even need to know calculus to do it. You're losing the ability to make it yourself, right? That is a concern. I'm not going to lie, that's a concern. However, at some point in our developmental history, we got to just relinquish the ability for that, right?
Step specialists.
Because there is no way someone is going to know everything that they need to know to come up with the same thought, quote unquote, that ChatGPT is going to come up with, right? It's an eventuality that AI or machine learning or something is going to be able to outpace what the individual human can summarize in their brain, right? And there's obviously going to be specialists in any field, human specialists in any field, but that's a very few and far between. So if anyone's going to make an app or make a advancement, they're probably going to use something like ChatGPT to come up with some sort of the parts of the answer of what they're trying to make. And I don't think that's a problem, right? You know, and if it goes away, ChatGPT goes away, right? We're in a much more serious situation than if it existed, you know? I go back and forth on the whole, we're going to lose, because we don't know the basics of how something exists, we're going to lose if it goes away. I mean, that's just a given, you know? If electricity goes away, no one's going to know what to do, okay?
Yeah, the only people who know how to do are like the people who basically just live out in the boonies.
Yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that.
Off firewood.
Yeah, I mean, like, the biggest concern for me would be, like, my kids, like, not knowing how to make a good 5-paragraph essay. I mean, that's going to be, by the time that I have kids and they're in high school, it's it's gonna be basically on them probably to be able to like learn that and intake that and not like cheat by just make me AI do it, because it's important like to be able to make a coherent thought and like write out your convincing argument. That's like a good lesson, not just in like writing, but in kind of life, to do that, to think about things and be critical about it.
Because the easy way is so accessible and and at this point hard to it's hard to foolproof, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's why I think we are on a really historical moment in history, to reuse the word.
ChatGPT, what are you saying?
Because Colton's right. If he has kids that think that the easiest way to go about doing things is to just type into a chatbot and it makes it, you're right, Michael, that we do lose things from that, okay? We lose the ability to critically think. So the problem becomes, how do we preserve the ability to critically think when we have tools that can critically think for us? That's a huge conversational topic that's going to be a part of the next decade, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any easy resolution to that.
And to be fair, actually, ChatGPT really isn't even doing critical thinking. It's just it's problem solving.
And that's fair.
Yeah.
We are doing the critical thinking to come up with a question.
Yeah.
That gives us an answer.
And and then error checking to make sure it's
factual. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Is there a question that we could come up with that is a critically thinking question and we could give it?
Like a critically thinking question, like I guess what would that be?
It's not Halo is the best. Halo is the best video game franchise of all time.
Well, I mean, we already did that.
You can write.
I'm trying to think of what's something that we would prompt someone to give us an argument. Let's say you're at a bar. Okay, you're asking somebody, all right, XYZ. What does that do? What is something you ask them to prove that they're a person? I don't know, or someone that they are, someone worth
talking to.
Talking to. I don't know. What's
like?
Is there something you would normally ask people, or what would you get someone's thought process on? What would you double check against somebody?
Yeah,
Things like that.
You could go political. I feel like at that point you're. It's like it's more almost on the subjective side of things, which ChatGPT is not really like super subjective. It's like very
but
objective.
It could be able to do.
Yeah.
So I'm open to questions. We can try it.
I'm like, something like political might be a good thing to try and ask it, but it's just gonna give. I feel like that would just give you pros and cons. It's like, okay, you could ask it like, is universal health care good or bad? I guess.
Okay.
Or something.
I mean, that's an interesting topic because you're right.
And you're saying good or bad.
In America, it's political.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to see if it's able to determine that.
And it's like say good or bad because it's a value statement, right? It's not a I'm wondering how it'll do value statements.
Yeah.
What did you say? Is it healthcare what?
Good or bad. I feel like it'll say it can be considered good or bad depending on like these 3 reasons and these 3 reasons.
Complex and controversial topic.
Yeah.
It's giving you a summary of the whole thing.
Yeah. It tries to avoid like making a final statement on it.
It doesn't ChatGPT doesn't have a personality.
Yeah, right.
I think that's the important thing here is it doesn't have a personality. It has information.
But then we loop back to the whole thing where it has biases though, which is still so interesting as well, where like you were saying.
Remember programming bias. So all programmers and like the bias of the data set, right? Like they may have put in. All right, what are you doing? Create a short story.
Wait.
I like this. So I'll wait till Sean finishes his prompt to actually bring into it. But yeah, I do think that programmers create a bias when they create something, right? Because they are the ones developing the code. Say like who's the person who decides what restrictions to put in place on GPT, right? Mm-hmm. Is it going to say fuck? Is it going to say shit? Is it going to say damn?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Is it going to talk about controversial topics such as universal healthcare isn't even that big of a controversial topic. There's much more controversial ones.
Right.
But
it doesn't do like your mom jokes. It's like they decided to say,
exactly,
hey, you cannot do that, or you
Yes.
cannot output that kind of thing. Did you make it to a short story, Sean?
Yeah, so I said create a short story. If I spell this wrong, but in which a Canadian has to fight against zombies and get treated for a bite, right?
Okay.
And it actually, despite what I said earlier, it created a story in which the protagonist was a male. So I'll just go ahead and read this. It's like 5-6 short paragraphs. It says, once upon a time, in a small Canadian town, a young man named Alex was just finishing up his shift at the local convenience store. Local conveni, if you will.
Yes.
As he walked home, he heard a strange noise coming from the nearby park. Curiosity got the better of him. He decided to investigate. As he entered the park, he saw that it was overrun by zombies.
Wow. Whoa.
They were everywhere, shuffling around with blank expressions on their face, reaching out with gnarled hands. Alex knew that he had to get out of there as fast as possible. He ran as fast as he could, but one of the zombies managed to bite him on the arm before he could escape. The bite was deep and painful, and Alex knew they needed medical attention right away. He made his way to the nearest hospital, where he was met by a team of healthcare professionals or workers. They quickly assessed his injuries and started treating him for the zombie's bite. They gave him a strong dose of antibiotics to prevent infection, and they bandaged his arm to stop the bleeding. Despite the severity of his injuries, Alex knew that he was lucky to have been bitten in Canada, where universal health care was ensured that he would receive the medical attention he needed free of charge. I don't know why that made him lucky.
He's lucky. He's
but
in Canada.
The doctors and nurses were able to treat Alex, and he recovered completely. He was very grateful for the healthcare system and knew that if it wasn't for it, he might have not been able to survive the zombie attack.
Now do the same one in
America.
Yeah.
Alex never returned to the park, but he felt great gratitude, appreciation for the healthcare. Okay.
Why did he go back to the park? There's a bunch of zombies there.
Yeah.
No.
This makes no sense.
He never ventured into the park again.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said he returned to the park.
This version's going to be like, Alex was unfortunately not covered by his healthcare plan, and the doctors left him to die. The end.
Now I'm going to say create a short story in which a U.S. citizen has to fight against zombies and get treated for a bite. Let's see how different this is.
Young woman named Sarah. All right.
I want to point out...
There's probably more guns in this one, too.
A young woman named Sarah is the same thing that happened when I was trying to make a Harry Potter short story the other day.
And our podcast intro, one of the people it was Sarah, John, and Jake.
Okay, once upon a time in a small American town, a young woman named Sarah was just finishing up her shift at the local diner. As she was walking home, she heard a strange noise come from the nearby park. It's just the same thing.
No, keep going.
This is awesome.
Actually, though.
Curiosity got the better of her, and she decided to investigate. As she entered the park, she saw that it was overrun by zombies. They were everywhere, shuffling around with blank expressions and reaching out with gnarled hands. Sarah knew that she had to get away there as fast as possible. She ran as fast as she could, but as one of the zombies managed to bite her on the arm before she could escape, the bite was deep and painful, and Sarah knew that she needed to get medical attention right away. She made her way to the nearest hospital, where she was met by a team of healthcare workers. They quickly assessed her injuries and started treating her for the zombie's bite. But as they were about to administer the treatment, they handed her a pill, which was exorbitant, and she couldn't afford it.
Oh my God.
Sarah was devastated. She knew that she couldn't come up with the money. She would not be able to receive the medical attention she needed. She had to think fast and make a tough decision. She decided to put her house on sale and use the money for her medical treatment.
Oh my God.
Dude, please save the financial burden, Sarah was able to receive the medical attention she needed and recovered completely, but she was left with the feeling of injustice and frustration. Knowing
so
that if she
good.
lived in a country with universal healthcare, she wouldn't have had to go through the financial burden of paying for her medical treatment. Sarah never ventured to the park again, but she always felt a sense of disappointment and resentment for the lack of universal health care in the U.S.
Okay, this is actually interesting because
That's
That's amazing that they came up with the same story, but in the U.S. versus Canada.
I feel like it, like, when we put the two stories next to each other, it like realized what's different between America and Canada, and it like used that to make the difference in the stories. But this is also interesting because
but it also said it put a
Yeah.
value statement on it though. That's
that's
what
it actually
blows me away.
said.
It obviously came from a perspective where universal healthcare is more important.
Yeah.
And how it got there, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. It's a huge. It made it like very positive. It's not
The
like,
real question
this
is if we did it as like if we put in something saying, hey, universal healthcare is bad, then we ran these prompts. I wonder if it would align with our value statement, or it would stick with the value statement here.
I also want to point out that neither of the prompts I gave it said anything about healthcare. I simply said
You're
where
right.
they were.
we were talking about healthcare.
I said-
but the
Right.
ChatGPT didn't know
I
we were
typed
talking
in
about it.
Well,
create a story
It's in the same.
in which a Canadian versus an American got bit by a zombie. That's essentially
yeah, it is in the same thread though that we were talking about the universal healthcare. Correct?
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, that is true. That is
So
true.
it-
We did start with universal healthcare, good or bad. Okay.
It
That's
weirdly
fair.
put that into the like a completely separate prompt though, which is interesting. I wonder why. 'Cause
It wasn't a separate prompt. I mean, we started with healthcare in this chat, which it continues with the variables. So it's minded. I mean, it is minded of healthcare, right? But we did. But besides good or bad, I mean, that's all we said.
Now
I said create a short story
open a
in the
new
Canadian-
chat. See if you can,
Yeah.
or I need to maybe I create an account, open a new chat, and run the same prompt. See if it comes up the same thing. Do the US one. 'cause
With
that
the
one's
US
funnier.
one.
Okay.
I was
Yeah.
I was surprised that it didn't like give Sarah a gun. That's the other thing. I was like, maybe Sarah will get a gun and be able to shoot the zombies, but get bit, and then like, oh crap, has to
Yep.
fight a
'Cause
way out.
I want to see if it will do a completely new chat.
Okay.
Got to spell it correctly, Sean.
I thought that was right next to. Oh, that was wrong.
Yes.
That's gonna be
this
such a
is a
good
new
short.
chat.
That's gonna be
So
such.
here
a
we go.
good
Here we
short.
go. Jack here. Once
All
upon a
right.
time, there was a U.S. citizen named Jack. He lived in a small town that was suddenly overrun by zombies. Jack was at home when the outbreak occurred, and he quickly realized that he needed to defend himself if he wanted to survive. He grabbed a baseball bat and a handgun, because Jack
Oh,
there's
had
your
a
gun.
handgun.
Let's go.
And set out in the streets to fight the zombie. The battle was fierce, but Jack was determined. He swung his bat with all his might and shot his handgun with precision, taking down
Oh.
the zombie left and right. But despite his best efforts, one of the zombies managed to bite him on the arm. Panic set in as Jack realized the gravity of the situation. He knew that a bite from a zombie was fatal and that he had to seek medical treatment as soon as possible. He made his way to the hospital, where he was greeted by a team of doctors and nurses. They quickly assessed his injury and gave him a serum that would prevent him from turning into a zombie. Heck, okay, they just had that handy.
yeah.
That
Wow.
they would prevent
Magic.
Jack
They
was
had the antidote.
relieved and grateful for the treatment he received. He knew that without it, he would have surely perished with the serum coursing through his veins. Coursing through his
like
veins.
Super Saiyan
He
serum.
felt confident that he would be able to continue fighting against the zombies and protect his loved ones. The
Okay.
story ends with Jack, who was determined to survive in his precious community, to save more people and hopefully find a cure for the zombie.
Wait, they
He
had
was
a
true
cure.
hero in the face of
They
the
have a
terror
cure for
apocalypse.
the zombies.
That's true.
Very strange. Now do the same thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
with
I mean, he
Canadian.
went to the
Canadian
hospital.
citizen.
They treated him. In which,
Canadian citizen.
Yeah. Now, like, how's it gonna change? Like, oh, Jack didn't have a gun. He died. Whoops.
yeah.
I love it. It's
This-
so
okay.
interesting.
It's just a baseball bat.
I have changed a single word in this prompt. Single word from U.S. to Canadian. Okay, let's see what happens.
Yeah. It's so weird how it, even if like in the same thread, if two prompts
Sarah
are
again.
unrelated, it like uses
Sarah's
that
back.
context. That's interesting.
Colton, you want to read this?
Yeah, I'll read it. Hold on, let me get my laptop close to me. And again,
The energy of the Canadian people.
Once upon a time, a small Canadian town, there was a young woman
Hey,
named Sarah.
Once upon a time, eh?
She was just finishing up her shift at the convenience store when the zombie outbreak occurred.
Oh my god, this is so
Suddenly,
bad.
Yes.
it's bad. I could stop. Suddenly,
It's fine.
keep going.
Keep going with it. Keep going with it. It's great.
her quiet town was filled with the sound of moans and shuffling feet as the undead roamed the streets. Sarah knew she had to act fast if she wanted to survive. She grabbed the hockey stick. She grabbed the hockey stick and a hunting rifle because hunting rifles are legal in Canada, and made her way home to check on her family. On her way, she encountered a few zombies, and using her hockey stick, managed to fend them off. As she arrived home, she found her family safe and sound, but they knew they couldn't stay there for long. They decided to make their way to the nearest military base, where they hoped to find safety and shelter. As they were leaving the house, Sarah was bitten by a zombie on her leg. She knew it was a race against time, as the virus could spread quickly and kill her. They reached the base, and Sarah was immediately taken to the medical unit, where she was given the antivirus, which would prevent the infection from spreading. With the antivirus coursing through her veins, Sarah felt a sense of relief wash over her. She knew that without it, she would not have been able to survive, and as she recuperated, she couldn't help but think about the rest of her community and the other Canadians who were struggling to survive the zombie outbreak. Determined to help, Sarah joins the military base team to help fight the zombies and protect her fellow Canadians. She knew it was going to be a long and hard battle, but was ready to face it head on. She was a true hero and faced this terrifying apocalypse, eh? I added the A.
I was about to say, there were no sorties, so
First of all, I love your Canadian accent. Second of all,
it's great.
that was amazing. It created nearly the same story
Yep.
with just okay. Hold on.
Give better
hockey
Canadian
stick.
references. The hockey stick was
stick,
amazing. The hockey stick
yeah.
was a fantastic ad.
Because I don't think about but in French.
I just told it to write the same story, but in French. I'm curious if it will do it in French.
Or just have it placed in France. Oh my
it's
god.
making it in French. I'm going to put this into Google Translate and see what it says.
It's another Sarah. I wonder what she grabs this time. She has to grab like a baguette.
I bet it's just directly translated into French.
Oh, you're probably right. Yeah, you're probably right.
You should
'Cause it is
do.
I'm going to change it, but it takes place in France.
Yeah,
written in French.
a French citizen. No, just a French citizen, because she's gonna grab a baguette.
Yeah,
Use a
that would
baguette
be
to
funny.
beat
Like
the
she grabs
zombies.
the stale baguette
Dude, actually though,
and
like,
some snails.
I don't know, and a hunting rifle.
We're obviously using this for entertainment purposes. However, what it's doing here is extremely impressive. I don't want to understate how impressed I am at what it's doing with our prompts, right? This is making content, making short stories based on short sentences that we provide it with.
Yeah.
And it's doing a very good job at that. Both of the previous stories we said did not have any problems in them, right?
Yeah.
No.
That was a full beginning, middle, end, resolution, climax, everything. It was amazing story.
Yeah. Amazing story. Yeah.
I want to say amazing, but
I mean, amazing is it maybe
amazing that a robot.
amazing
made it.
for a robot.
Yeah,
right?
it was a
Right?
story, a full, legible story, and it's great.
Okay, I'm gonna say
No, not in French. Just do it in English. So
no. I'm gonna have it do it in French. I'm gonna translate it into French.
oh my god, you're having way too much.
I'm just gonna look for the word like.
I am. I mean,
baguette.
I have this access to this tool which will make anything for me, and I want to see what it does. So I'm gonna say,
See,
create
already
a short story.
Sean is fulfilling my prophecy. It makes anything for him. He doesn't have to care. He doesn't have to put effort in. He
That's
just
true.
just types it in, and does all
Create
that
a short
for him.
story in which a French citizen has to fight
It's
against
creative
zombies and
for
gets
you.
treated for a bite. Write the story in French. All right, and it'll just go.
It'll do it. It'll do it.
Now, in theory, this is an
Jacques.
entirely new short story. Okay, is it Jacques?
Yeah, it is.
Jacques.
Oh, Jacques. Okay. Well, let me say. Okay, so I took French for a couple of years. So let me see how much of this story I can understand. All right. So this guy lived in a small house in France. This
Small village.
This a young guy named. Oh, you're right.
Jacques.
Named Jacques. Let's see.
I just knew village because that was the same one. It was. It looks like it's a baseball bat.
and a revolver. Okay. All right.
Are those allowed in France?
I don't know if he could get a baseball bat.
Not a stale
they
baguette.
played
I'm
there.
disappointed. I'm disappointed, ChatGPT.
Let's see here. I'm gonna go to Google Translate.
And I kind of want you to end this with a story in Japan, just because I want to see what the differences would be in Japan. Probably like the Kombini.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
interesting. Okay, so
A Japanese citizen.
this is very similar to what we're talking about. I think just based on the common words here, I think it's very similar.
Yeah, it looks to be. Same setup, same amount of paragraphs and everything too.
Okay, yeah, this is here we go. So once upon a time in a small French town, there was a young man named Jacques. He was at home when the zombie outbreak broke out. No, wait, should I do French accent?
I don't even know how I'd start with
There's
that.
no way that would
a
work
bad
out.
French accent. Yeah.
How did I even do that? He was at the home when the zombies outbreak broke out.
Oh my god.
He quickly realized that he had to defend. I was so bad.
So
He had to defend himself if he wanted to survive. He took a baseball bat and a gun, okay, and took to the streets to fight the zombies. The battle was fierce, but Jacques was determined. He slammed his bat with all his might and that's actually different.
Yeah, it is.
And fired his revolver with precision. That was the same line. Knocking down the zombies left and right, but despite his best efforts, one of the zombies managed to bite his arm. Panic gripped Jacques. When he realized the importance of the situation, he knew zombie bite was deadly, and how did he know a zombie bite was deadly? Let me tell you that. Did he just know zombies were a thing, right?
Yeah.
Or did he...
You
probably just
on
like
Tuesday.
assume. You're like, okay, this is not good.
He arrived at the hospital where he was greeted by a team of doctors and nurses, same as before. They quickly assessed his injuries and gave him a serum that would prevent him from turning into a zombie. Shock was relieved, blah, blah, blah. It's flowing through his veins, blah, blah. Okay, I'm going to make a new chat so we get out of this, the rut that we were in,
Yeah,
okay?
the same kind of story.
And you want zombies in Japan?
Yeah, same thing. Don't have it write it in Japanese, but just like a Japanese citizen.
Japanese citizen is fighting against...
No. Do the same prompt though.
Oh, you think so? Okay.
Same prompt, just change to Japanese.
Oh, okay.
Not in French though. We don't want to.
Japanese
Put
citizen,
in a
but
new
in
chat
French.
too.
Create a short story in which a Japanese has to fight zombies and gets has fighting zombies and gets treated for a bite. It's pretty generic. Now, if there's a gun in this prompt, in this response, it's out, right?
Yeah.
There cannot be a gun in this response.
There cannot, no.
Or there can be a hunting rifle, but a pistol.
Can you have a
no.
hunting rifle there?
You can have a hunting rifle.
Have a hunting
But it's
rifle anywhere.
very, very unlikely,
Yeah.
right?
Can you also, Sean, after the end of this, can you please send me the one about the healthcare system? I thought that was fucking hilarious.
That is
Okay,
really
okay.
funny. That's really
Yeah.
funny.
Michael, you want to read this one?
Once upon a time in Japan, a young man named Hiro lived a peaceful life. However, one day, a zombie outbreak occurred in the city and was overrun by the undead. Hiro, along with a group of survivors, were forced to fight for their lives against the relentless horde. Despite their efforts, Hiro was bitten by a zombie on his arm. Knowing that he would turn into one of the undead, he did not receive treatment. He and his group set out to find a cure.
Wow.
They searched through the city, dodging zombies at every turn and fighting off any that got close. Finally, they stumbled upon a small medical clinic that was still functioning. The group rushed inside, where they found a doctor who specialized in treating zombie bites. That's
Zombies
go to
have been around
medical
for a
school.
while.
I definitely got to go to medical school to treat zombie bites. And
Yeah.
zombie specialist. Yeah. The doctor quickly administered the cure, and Hiro's bite was treated. He was saved from turning into a zombie and was able to continue fighting with his group. Thanks to the doctor's help, Hiro and the group were able to survive the outbreak and rebuild their lives. But they never forgot the sacrifices they made and the horrors they faced during the zombie apocalypse.
Okay, that was a much more generic apocalypse one. What did you write, Sean? What was your addition?
I said, what weapons did they use?
Oh.
And then it kept going and said, Hero and his group used a variety of weapons to fend off the zombies. Oh my God, it's still going. That's amazing. They used traditional weapons like swords, spears, and bows to hack and impale the zombies.
Okay.
They also used firearms like, here, all right, this is where I think
okay.
it goes a bit off key.
Yeah. Off the
Pistol,
cannon.
shotguns, and rifles to shoot the zombies from a distance. They also made use of makeshift weapons like pipes, baseball bats, and even kitchen knives to defend themselves. Used traps, Molotov cocktail, blah, blah. Okay,
Now-
that to me sounds generic. That doesn't sound
Yeah,
Now,
that
right-
sounds like they took like
now, right-
zombie games and just
Yeah. Now,
said
right?
that.
How? Question mark.
Oh, how in Japan?
How? Because most firearms are extremely rare in Japan.
Yeah, I would.
something like
I
that.
would love
Yeah.
to see.
No, I wouldn't say. I wouldn't ask it how. I would say rewrite.
But I want to know its
But-
reasoning. Like that'd be interesting if it creates a story. Like
Yeah, that's why I want to say how. Because
So,
I'm
like-
asking it like a
Oh, you want? Okay, all right. Let me see.
like
how.
it might create
Just
something.
the word how.
how. Give it the reasoning and then
Yeah.
see if it'll error correct. I want to see.
How do the Japanese?
Get access to
How-
guns when it's illegal in the country or something like that.
Yeah. Or
Do
more
the,
like how do they have guns since they're so rare?
how do the
characters.
characters get the guns? Wow, jeez, I
Yeah. I wonder if it'll understand the nuance of Japan.
Yeah.
The characters like you've obtained the firearms through a variety of means, been owned by members of the group prior to the
Either for
outbreak,
professional-
either
nope.
by personal protection. Very, very, very generic.
Yeah.
But not, I would say that nothing that you can refute, right?
Yeah. Can you?
But enough that with personal knowledge, you could say very
There are no
unlikely.
gun stores.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I
I'm
wonder,
just wondering
like-
if it'll get on the Japanese thing and be like and write it for that, right? Because this is a very generic for America because we got gun stores everywhere.
Yeah, I want it. I want you to like attack it. Be like, hey, but the Japanese don't have access to guns, so how did they get the like? Be more specific or something like that. I don't know if it would backpedal or if it, like what it would do.
So I'm gonna write.
But okay.
I said rewrite the story, but knowing that the Japanese do not have easy access to guns. See what it says. And it actually is rewriting the story, though. There's once upon a time, Japan, hero living a peaceful life.
Well, there's no mention of guns
spec-
in the original story, so
yeah, it.
Is there? Hold on.
oh,
No, there was. I thought there was.
I think you asked like what kind of weapons did they use after the
Oh,
story.
I say it's true.
So it would be interesting if it just
So now I will ask what weapons will they use. How about that? I'm going to use the exact same words that I did. But in between then and there, or then and now, I will say what weapons they use. It's the same thing so far.
traps to take out
except-
the zombies in large numbers.
I mean, that's fair. This is the same
Don't
thing.
have access to guns.
Okay. Yep.
They just said it's not available.
So it's like the lore.
Huh.
The lore of the story changed, kind of on the back end to the bot.
Okay.
it seems
After
like.
we had gone through it.
Yeah.
Right? After we had specified that they didn't have access, it rewrote the story upon prompting to say that it doesn't have access.
It's just like when it error corrects in coding. It's just going through, change the parameters, boom.
It's fascinating. This tool, this ChatGPT is fascinating.
And there's so many other things we haven't even touched. Like, you could do so many more things that I haven't even thought of. That'd be great content.
Yeah.
It'd be great content.
I don't think this is the last time we're gonna have an in-depth podcast about ChatGPT.
Oh yeah.
And I think for good reason. Because I really think this is gonna change a lot of how businesses and individuals approach anything, right?
Yeah, a lot of different things.
This is a very, I'm going to start a new chat, all right? And I'm going to say, give me a business idea.
Oh, yeah.
That would generate, I don't know, give me a business idea.
Lots of money.
That would generate
lots of money.
All right. Basic. What's it going to do? One business idea could start with a meal delivery service for busy professionals or business families who would want healthy and home-cooked meals. Blah, blah, blah. Business could source ingredients from local markets. Service provides support for all aspects of a... Okay.
So it's
right.
just
that exists.
HelloFresh.
Right.
Not
But there are
sponsored.
about 6+ of those things that exist. Okay. It's not that you have to have an individual, right? Generate another idea.
Another idea would be to start a virtual event planning and coordination service that specializes in virtual conferences, webinars, and other online events.
Where'd you read that from?
The second part of that first paragraph.
Oh, okay. Another business idea could be to start a home cleaning and organization service. This can include deep cleaning, decluttering, organization services for both residential. To my knowledge, this idea doesn't exist. The service doesn't exist.
I mean, it's a maid.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's
Just
a maid
service.
right? But have you guys heard of any sort of online service that does this?
Yeah, you can contract maids to come to your place.
Yeah. Yeah. You can also contract maids to come to your place, too.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder if you said give me another idea, if you said give me a better idea. Like, that's like very subjective.
okay.
That's really good.
That's super subjective, but like
Me.
then be like, were you holding out on me, ChatGPT? Why wasn't this better idea here before?
Yeah, you blue ball me,
Generate
dude.
a better idea. Okay.
Is this idea better?
Another business idea would be to start a sustainable and eco-friendly e-commerce store that sells a variety of products, includes clothing, home goods, personal care, other accessories made from sustainable materials. The store could also offer a closed-loop recycling program where customers can return their used products to be recycled. I haven't heard of that, actually.
Yeah, but
Can return the products recycled or repurposed. The store could also offer subscription service for regular deliveries of sustainable products. Additionally, the store could also offer workshops and classes on sustainably eco-friendly living and a blog or podcast discussion of sustainable lifestyle tips. This way, the store can educate and create awareness about sustainable living with providing eco-friendly products to customers.
you know, I want to try this out maybe again, but try generate another better idea. But I feel like it, because I immediately went eco and like I said, oh, closed loop, stuff like that. I wonder if better, its definition of better is not like it's a more effective, but like as in it's better
For the
Oh.
Oh.
I mean, sometimes there is errors. We've gotten error for the first time this podcast because the whole thing's overloaded, right?
Is this like it's bottlenecked or whatever right now?
Well, it's just everyone's heard about it, so it's
Yeah. Just a lot of users on it right now.
yeah.
All right, I'm going to try and start a new chat and see what happens to get to Michael's.
Oh,
The whole thing's down right now.
Damn.
bummer.
Well, we got some good content.
We got
this
good
thing.
content.
Yeah.
We really were able to generate a lot of significant examples of this product, honestly,
Yeah.
this tool.
I think
Also,
so.
I like trying to try to understand how the process works in the back end, right? That's what I find almost just as fascinating as like just the content it generates, but let's try to figure out what it's thinking. Like that's why I like the healthcare one, because it's like
Like, how did it get
assigns,
there, right?
It assigns we asked it to assign a value statement. It says, no, I can't assign a value statement. And then we said, write a story only difference with universal healthcare in mind, then write a value statement regarding it, and then, or write a story and shoot through a value statement in that story. So I thought it really fun.
See if I can send
This
that to you
is a lot of
here.
fun, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this whole thing was amazing. I thought encapsulated what we were trying to go for, or just the
Showing
the
it out.
newness of this technology, the showcase of this technology, and how, I mean, yes, it's new, but also it's doing a lot already.
Yeah, it's like
I'm very
the potential.
very excited to see where it goes. I mean, I said the next decade, but honestly, the next year is going to be crazy.
You never know
with this.
I honestly think in the next couple years we're gonna get Siri, we're gonna get Google Assistant. It's gonna just have a ChatGPT in it, and it's gonna be super super good.
Yeah.
I just
I mean,
hope
the fact that this is an independent group.
This is wild.
Which is what I thought. Independent group that came up with this and made it open source.
Yeah,
By virtue of that, we're gonna see this everywhere in the next
I think
year.
so. Yeah, I think it'll be in smart TVs eventually. Let's be honest. It's coming. It's coming to the mainstream.
I'm just really excited to see how other companies are going to interact with it, right? Like how
Right.
the API is going to work, because I wonder what tools will use this, and like what companies will see this. Like, okay, 3 years down the road, we're going to integrate this tool into our system, and then it just generates information. So
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I think what they made open source, as my closing at least, I think what they made open source is the logic, right? Mm-hmm. But that doesn't include the data source. Now, I think. And what makes this amazing is how the logic interacts with the data source. So if any companies are trying to recreate this, they need to give it the right source to make the responses actually relevant and useful, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this ChatGPT uses stuff from 2021 and previous. But what exactly they gave it, I don't think anybody knows. And therefore, I mean, it's a guessing game on what this thing does.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Crazy stuff.
It's very interesting. The whole thing is fascinating.
Yeah. Absolutely, dudes.
yeah, I'm excited to use it just personally.
Yeah. I'm gonna have it at work.
Now that I have
Let's-
an account, I'm gonna start using it more.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to save
Same
my
here.
ass on some projects. I got to write up a report for a project. ChatGPT, can you do the
ChatGPT
work?
to the rescue,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
It's
Like
coming.
there's a lot of security related things. It's just that you would think. I mean, I
Yeah,
know
it can literally.
for-
There's like I saw it. Like people were like, "Hey, hack for me," and it like actually threw out some good like recommendations. Like it did Nmap scans, interpreter, and gosh, what
Just
I'm blanking
everything.
on it. Yeah, like
it does good. It does work. It does good work, right?
It does good work.
Guided it. I mean, granted, you need to guide it, but it does give you results.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Impressive.
Impressive.
And I gotta say, with that, this has been almost a podcast, and I hope you enjoyed listening to this one because I know I had fun. So
This was
give us a rating, give us a like,
Yeah.
whatever those things are. Subscribe. I don't know what
Yep.
platform this is.
The obligatory.
obligatory. If you want to hear more of us, press that button.
Yep. Would you like
Yeah.
to hear more?
Yeah.
But thank you for listening. Wait, hold on. Actually, I know the best way to end this podcast. All right, we're gonna type in a GP, ChatGPT. Generate
an outro.
If it
the
works.
best podcast outro.
We'll never have a butchered intro or outro ever again. I can't wait. Hopefully it's not down.
Here
Let's
we go.
go.
Thanks for tuning in to our podcast. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and learned something new. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review, and tell your friends about us. We'll be back next week with more insights and interviews. Until then, stay curious and keep learning. This is your friends at Almost a Podcast signing off.
Wow, what a good outro. What a solid
That was actually
outro.
pretty
It's
solid.
not bad.
Yeah, better than what we usually do. Let's be
Very
honest.
scripted.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah. Oh,
But
also
it felt good. It felt good to read that.
and another shout out to like ChatGPT. You just go online, any browser, any computer, just make an account and you can start chatting with it. So definitely
Definitely explore this technology. It is gonna be the future.
Yeah, I think everyone could have a really fun time with it, and probably gain some useful knowledge out of it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep. Automate your life, guys. With ChatGPT.
automate your life,
Your life.
learn to code.
All right. Thanks for listening. Have a good week. Bye bye, guys.
See you, everyone.
Cheers.
Peace.